everybody, I'm Melissa, your free range psychic. Today is September 24th, 2023. It's a Sunday, and I want to wish everybody a happy equinox. For those of us in the Western Hemisphere, happy fall equinox, and for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere, happy spring. So today I wanted to do a video on not necessarily just the QAnon shaman, who's in, I start the montage with him, but the relationship between the white supremacist groups that support Donald Trump and are his army, really, and Trump himself and the MAGA movement. So I wanted to do that because it's there, we see it, but I don't know if we understand its significance or how much the white supremacists have been, or have usurped, I should say, this kind of heathen aspect of, it's called a satru, this belief in the Norse and Germanic gods, which, why are they co-opting that? Because it harkens back to Hitler and the Nazi movement and the 1,000-year Reich, and this belief that Aryans are superior and will take over the world, or that's their desire. And it's a very serious movement, and it's prevalent in this country to an extent within the MAGA, but also in other countries where these movements and what's behind them encourages increased violence towards Islamic people, towards people of color, towards women, towards the members of the LGBTQ community, and it's very dangerous. And here we have the QAnon shaman. Why was he the leader of the attack on the Capitol? Because that is what it represents, these groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. And I also wanted to stress how paradoxical MAGA is, because it also envelops the evangelical Christians. So you have this group that worships Norse god and Germanic gods and is polytheistic and proclaimed heathen, and then you have the evangelical Christian types, Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, which again, then you look at them and the paradox of them, because their behavior is extremely what is the word? Promiscuous and coarse and rough, and at odds with whatever they say they worship, regarding Christianity, because they do the opposite. So there's a lot of that cognitive dissonance in this movement, and it's very confusing. I just kind of wanted to get into it. Partially because recently, I follow some true crime, and Odinism came up in a case that possibly there was an Odin-type sacrifice, and then they started talking about the usurpation of Odinism by white supremacists, and I went, oh, okay, how does that translate to MAGA? Because it's the same people, it's the same. Do the white supremacists worship Odin? Is that a thing? And then yes, obviously, I got into it, and it was just very easy to see the connection. I just wanted us to know there's this connection, and there's this group. They're the same ones who guard Roger Stone, and they're the ones who marched in Charlottesville, and Trump is their Odin. And he's depicted as Odin. I knew I would find it. I didn't see that, that one of those pictures in the montage where he's like a Marvel character or something. He's drawn as Odin. But I knew I would find it, and I did find it. And you can buy it on eBay, that image. It's a flag. So I thought, again, like in my last video, did I read an article in my last video? I think I might have, or the one before that regarding this, and bear with me here, I'm not the best reader, but sometimes I don't know how to get it out myself with all the facts and everything and give you the news about it, give you the information. So I wanted to get help with this article. And this is actually an article that was printed by a heathen, and that's what they call themselves. I'm not calling them heathens. News website, blog, whatever. It's called The Wild Hunt. It was published actually January 7th of 2021. And its title is Heathens Respond to Q Shaman and Norse Imagery in Capitol Riot. So, Washington, yesterday, a rally in support of U.S. President Donald Trump's baseless claims of election fraud turned into a violent and chaotic insurrection. A group of far-right Trump loyalists attacked and breached the Capitol building in a puerile but violent effort to stop Congress from certifying the results of the 2020 presidential election, which was won by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Of the many rioters photographed during the assault on the Capitol, one in particular caught the eye of the heathen community. A face-painted, shirtless man wearing furs and a horned helmet, carrying a spear, and covered in tattoos related to Viking and Norse imagery. The man, Jake Angeli, sometimes referred to as the QAnon Shaman, appeared in dozens of photographs shared by national and social media. And I think I'll just say Angeli, who's, not Angeli, though, I don't know what the pronunciation is really. Angeli, whose legal name is Jacob Chansley, 32, is a QAnon supporter from Phoenix, Arizona, who's been active in far-right circles in the past year, appearing in his face paint and horns at many rallies in support of Trump and QAnon. In 2019, he appeared in a similar costume at a rally demanding action on climate change at the Arizona State Capitol. Despite some claims on social media that he's affiliated with Black Lives Matters or Antifa, Reuters notes that Angeli has a detailed history of involvement with Trump rallies and the QAnon movement. On Angeli's now closed Facebook page, he shared a variety of QAnon-related conspiracy theories, including claims that a cabal of satanic pedophiles had infiltrated the U.S. government and was acting in opposition to President Trump. Now, I just want to stop here. That is Putinesque, the quintessential Putin propaganda. So, I had question marks regarding that statement, because, the QAnon is a Russian-led psyops operation. And I wondered if Jake Angeli was really an operative. And I still wonder that. So just want you to know that. One post included a video that claimed to expose the way that communism is tied to Satanism and black magic spell. Angeli's Facebook profile also contained a mishmash of memes, images, and quotes that seemed to indicate support for multiple religious expressionisms. Some involved pagan imagery, but many were affirmations of Christianity and devotion to Jesus. The phrases "God wins" and "Jesus men" were frequent elements of his posts. He also described himself as a shamanic practitioner and energetic healer. Quote, "I have been on the shamanic path for over a decade and have numerous different capabilities and gifts at my disposal." Until shortly after the riot at the U.S. Capitol, Angeli maintained a profile on Backstage as an advertising website for actors and entertainers. In the now deleted page, he described himself as an actor, voiceover artist, and singer, capable of performing over 30 different voices and numerous different accents. He also claimed to be, quote, very skilled at embodying characters, unquote. Despite the mostly Christian nature of his posts, Angeli is clearly aware of modern heathenry. One Facebook post contained the 9 Noble Virtues, an ethical code created by John Yowell and John Gibbs Bailey of the Odinic Rite in 1974. Yoel has ties to white supremacists and fascist movements, including at one point membership in the British Union of Fascist and National Socialists. Angeli has 3 prominent tattoos on his torso, including a valknut on his upper chest, a stylized tree on his pectoral, and a large Thor's hammer tattoo on his abdomen. The tree is potentially a reference to Yggdrasil, the world tree in Norse cosmology. Angeli does not appear to be connected to any active heathen or pagan community. His appearance at the head of the charge brought swift reaction from the heathen and pagan community. So I don't necessarily need to read this, but there's like the Troth, which is a global pagan movement, I think, out of Britain. And they represent the heathen and pagan community, and they completely denounced the attack, and they denounced Jake Angeli, and said that their movement has nothing to do with the the white supremacist group, and they support Biden and Harris and see the veracity of the election, or the integrity of the election. And they, in this little paragraph, they finish, "Tonight we join with faith leaders from around the globe in a prayer for peace to settle the United States, or to settle over the United States, and that a common orderly transition of power continues." And there are other statements from other Troth members. And this is pretty funny. One of the commentators said or noted that Angeli's outfit looked like the heathen version of the musical Cats. Oh my gosh. So there's a quote here: "The most prominent Q shaman, or Jake Angeli, doesn't seem to identify as heathen, but as a Christian mystic type, at least according to his Facebook. Why would he get those symbols tattooed? Probably because he's a white supremacist, and he identifies those symbols with the 14 words and any other Nazi white power BS that's floating around out there." Yeah, I guess we can leave it at that. And it is, it seems laughable, really, but it is what fuels much of the domestic terrorism that we're experiencing in this country. So we got to know about it. We got to know about it so we can identify it, because when you identify something, then you can focus on it and you can see the truth, and you don't buy into the QAnon psyop, and you can call it out at least. So the deck I'm using is the Cyril Marchetti Gilded Tarot, and we have an oracle card from the Messenger Oracle deck today, and then there's of course the musical interlude at the end. Okay, so guess what the subject card is in this? I'm using a simple Celtic layout with a couple extra cards. So this is the subject card. This is the devil. So this is Trump. And then there is a clarification card, and this is the Lovers, and this is Trump and these white supremacist movements that are the ones who see him as Odin. They do, honestly, they see Trump as Odin. He fits all their characteristics, and they worship him. They see him as a god. Above is the Hangman. So this actually represents Odin. I don't know if you know the history of this card or the genesis of it, but it was derived from this Norse mythology of Odin, who hung himself willingly in order to gain knowledge. But of course, it also means sacrifice or self-sacrifice, or can mean a delay, etc. But this is Odin. What this card is originally based on was this myth. Was this myth of the Hangman. But at the bottom of it, this is a for us tarot readers, this is a willing sacrifice. But in this layout right now, in this reading, this is saying yes, this is Odinism. This is who these Odinists who have usurped Odinism from the original pagan belief and are now identifying themselves and doing the rituals and having that tattoos on their body as a white supremacist belief. They've taken Odin in. And the clarifying card of this is the Knight of Swords, and so now they're proselytizing. This is their religion, and they're soldiers in this army, and a lot of military are actually, there's a lot of military in this movement, by the way, and they're the ones who were a big part of the Capitol attack. So that's why you would think that, like, the QAnon shaman shows up and the majority of people go, who the heck is that? But no, he represented them. They made way for him. Remember? And yes, this could also represent the QAnon shaman himself as the religious leader, the spiritual leader of this movement that wants to bring down our government and bring back or bring in the white supremacy and Nazism. In the past, of course, is the tower, and their part in the tower, and many of them were arrested and given sentences. It still boggles my mind that Chansley himself got an early release. He somehow managed to fool the judge into thinking there was true remorse, but then almost as soon as he got out, he was back on Facebook, and he was he even has his own merch, and he's a speaker at different white supremacist organizations to grift and raise money, and also deny that he ever denounced this movement and Trump, and he's totally in support of it again. And then you wonder the powerful people behind him. I mean, there was Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, all the Fox, pundits, Sean Hannity, who were working for release. So, and also, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz and those people. I just wonder, was or is Jake Chansley or Angeli a Russian operative? I would not be surprised, seeing as how not that many have gotten released, and there he is. He's out so quickly, and they raised so much money for him. It's just I'm not saying he is. It's just allegedly. The thought did cross my mind, especially because of his history as an actor and his knowledge of many languages, and also the montage or the mixed. Not montage, but mixed mishmash of belief. There's nothing specific in terms of what he really represents. He's kind of trying to appeal to them all. So in the future, wait a minute. Underneath, I'm sorry, is the Five of Swords, and basically the guides say this is the white supremacists, these core groups for Trump, like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the Three Percenters and various other splinter groups. They are wanting to finish the job, like I said before, that the Nazis failed at, which is to spread fascism throughout the world. And in the future, the Five of Wands comes up. Now these groups, because their leaders like Torres and others have gotten long sentences and are kind of cut off from their ability to be in power like they were, now you have these groups. They're now not working together anymore. They're fighting each other. They're all trying to usurp power, and this is what happens when you have like a tyrannical or fascistic type leaders over you, and then they're gone, and then you have this infighting that occurs. They say that this is what's happening right now, so it's weakening, it's splintering these groups. The clarification card is this is a QAnon card, right? The magician. It's all an illusion. Everybody's under this illusion. And this is QAnon. And behind QAnon, remember, is Putin creating this mirage, creating this it is psyops, brainwashing, and then utilizing the energy of it to continue to try to bring down our government and to use stochastic terrorism and sow domestic violence, because that's how Nazism got into power, and they want to repeat the same thing here, and they really do want Trump back in 2024. And this is their method. It's by spreading fear, by brute force, and by using psyops and brainwashing and these fantastical beliefs that are not based in reality, but are do have the effect of revving up people to become the Knight of Swords. In the end, though, the card that comes up, the outcome card, is Judgment, and my guides show me this is a DOJ, and now they're putting the heat on these movements. They're really focusing on domestic violence and domestic terrorism, and they're kind of shaking the trees, so to speak. They're seeing the inner workings of it, and they're putting forth the effort to dismantle it. And it has, I can't remember who said that domestic terrorism was the biggest threat to our country, and so it is. I don't mean to scare you, because I do believe that it will be thwarted. I don't believe Trump will be president in 2024, but it's just so, the ridiculousness of it, that you have these absolutely diametrically opposed groups like the evangelical Christians and the Odinists, all coming together under one flag. It's insane, but that's what's happened. And there's no difference, in terms of their aims, in terms of their the outcomes of their movement, which how did that come to be, when I'm sure that the evangelical Christians don't want to be equal to or lumped to a bunch of heathens and pagans, but there you go, they're all one under one flag. And that is cognitive dissonance, when two opposing ideas or beliefs, you have to accept both of them as true. So your mind has to kind of go into a kind of a mind warp to be able to do that. And it causes a lot of confusion. It kind of cuts off your critical thinking from your emotions, and so on and so forth. Okay. So that is my reading on the QAnon Shaman and QAnon / white supremacy / all the different movements like the Proud Boys, etc., and MAGA, and why we see Trump as Odin, or various versions of that, because I'm sure you've seen various versions of him as like a Marvel character, and you wonder what the heck, he's nothing like that. He's the opposite, but they do believe that he is Odin. They do. Okay, you guys, it's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. We're going to get through this thing. We just need to recognize the truth, and not be go into cognitive dissonance ourselves, so that it slips by and we just kind of accept it and we go on to the next thing. We need to understand it. It's really important. Okay, let's shift to our oracle card. And Our oracle card from the Messenger Oracle Guidebook is See the Truth. Do not be deceived. Be watchful. Be mindful of the illusions others weave around themselves, and that you may weave around yourself. Know the night. Understand the shadows. See through the darkness to the light of the truth. Pay attention to contradictions. Notice when actions and words are not in harmony. Hone your intuition and insight so that you may know the minds and the hearts of those around you and yourself. And trust in the wisdom born out of that awareness. See the truth. Okay, you guys, I always announce at some point in the video that I'm available for personal readings. I read on anything in past lives, the present. I am a medium. I was going to say I'm an oracle. I am a medium, and I love to introduce you to your guardian angels. My information is in the description box below, and at the end of the musical interlude, which is coming up. Please stick around for that. I think you'll enjoy it. I love you. You guys take care. And I will be back next Sunday. Bye-bye.